Hello, my name is Roy Sheppard, and I've been joined by my guest today, Steve Bather of the Realise Group. Steve is one of the most talented and experienced facilitators in the world and works at a very high level in government. Steve, welcome. It's really nice to see you. Can you give us an idea of the sorts of things that you actually do?
Yes, we're working with central government and federal government in the US, looking at policy groups, stakeholder engagement, looking at large and small sessions involving multiple stakeholders sometimes, and trying to really get a deeper, better quality dialogue going on between those various parties in the discussion, in order that we come out with high quality outcomes.
So one of the things that I've discovered as a facilitator over many years is the resistance and the reluctance of people in a group to actually say what they really think. But the technology you use gets rid of all of that because they can contribute completely anonymously.
Yeah, exactly. So it's almost a differentiator in the way we work. The opportunity is to build in anonymity. And what we find is that people are much more willing to say what they actually think when there is this anonymity. So it doesn't affect how they think, but it affects what they're willing or feel able to say in perhaps a conventional meeting, whether that be online or physical. So getting to what people really think and the range of perspectives that can then reveal very, very quickly, because people are typing this into XLeap, which is the product we're using, is much more rapid. And then you go into a period where everything that's been captured is discussable. So even the things that are perhaps more controversial or left field become discussable as much as the stuff that is safe and that everybody agrees makes sense.
So the hierarchy within an organization is eliminated. People don't have to worry about they don't have to worry about upsetting their bosses.
Indeed. So we temporarily take that hierarchy out the room. And of course, we're talking with the senior people in the room in terms of the planning and the design of the session. So they really want people to tell them what they really think. I mean, if you ask senior managers in any organization, whether it be public or private sector, what do you desire most from your people, is for them to tell me the truth and get to the bottom of any issues and changes that need to happen. So it's the same in central government. You're looking at a huge, complex range of perspectives and inputs from a vast range of different organizations and political lobby groups and private individuals and citizens, and making sense of that so that you create sensible policy that is beneficial to the majority is really, really important. And you can only do that by having high quality consultation with your public.
You do things that are very heavy. I mean, really serious stuff, like child safeguarding and abuse issues and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes when the topic is really, really difficult, and we work with safeguarding partnerships, which are looking at a statutory requirement to look at the learning in the case of neglect or abuse or even death of a child, say. And these multi-agency learning reviews are fraught with a potential for it to become a forum where individual agencies seek to avoid blame. And of course, no practical learning comes out of that. So we try and change the nature of those discussions, and we try and create an environment where people question what happened rather than definitively state what's happened from their perspective. And it leads to a much more open disclosure about what often comes down to either flaws in the system or flaws in the application of that system. And in revealing that learning and taking people through that learning process, not only documents what now needs to change and improve, but psychologically, the individual practitioners and the agencies involved in that learning process get ideas and go away and do things instantly because of their experience in the learning review.
I mean, you also work at the American federal level as well. Being a Brit, they've invited you to come in. What is the reason behind that?
Well, I first worked for the federal government over 10 years ago, 12 years ago now, and it came to an abrupt end 4.5 years ago. So I'm delighted to be back working with them. I'm working specifically with the Environmental Protection Agency, and their experience working with me 10 years ago was the rapidity and the quality of anything from the highest level strategic discussions within the EPA to working on different aspects of policy for the various different teams and groups within the EPA when talking to their stakeholders. So they have absolutely rightly identified a period over the next 100 days, 3 months of massive change with the new administration coming in, and the need to rapidly collate and organize and prioritize their agenda so that the new administration can make sense of what's possible and build it into their agenda politically.
What do you think this type of collaborative technology will do for true collaborative working in the future?
Well, I think one of the sort of serendipitous opportunities that has come from the pandemic and the periods of lockdown that we've suffered is two things. One is that people have suddenly started to ask different questions. Once we got through March and April and realized this was going to go on into the summer, people suddenly realized that end-to-end Zoom conversations and meetings wasn't the solution. So they began to ask really high quality questions about what can we do differently? What is now possible? And I think the second point is that now this has gone on so long, those initial changes in behavior with, huge trepidation about how this will work and how am I going to get my head around the technology. And so we've got through those trepidations and got into the potential from the technologies that are out there. People have really taken it to heart. They've really begun to ask the right questions and learn about these new technologies. And I really believe it's become business as usual.
Thank you very much indeed for telling us about XLEAP and how that is enabling true deep conversations. It's been great talking to you. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Roy.